Barely a day goes by now where I don't see a post on Facebook asking how they declare their 40-year-old car as tax exempt. But more so, what I see is, why isn't my 40-year-old car tax exempt yet? Short of telling you that the DVLA are the single most useless group of people in the entire world and would be a better place if they just let cats take over the office, I decided I should make a quick video explaining how it all works. I've done it twice now and without a hitch. In this episode of 427 Motorsports, I'll explain what MOT and tax exemption is, what qualifies your classic car for it, and what doesn't. Let's get started. So for our overseas viewers, who I'm surprised are actually watching this one, MOT is basically state inspection. Basically they check the roadworthiness of your car. It's a requirement in the UK, however some vehicles are exempt from it. In the UK, any MOT approved garage can perform an MOT test. They have different rules from us here in Northern Ireland, where you have to take a car to an approved government MOT testing station. If you ask me, we have the best system, although I would say that, and also the worst system. The best because the government doesn't stand to make a profit from testing your car. They can't sell you parts and labour, and so all cars get a fair test and won't be trying to fleece you. Although we also have the worst because we have limited testing stations, making it very difficult to get a car booked in for a test at times, but that's a topic for another video. Once your Pride and Joy hits 40 years old, you can apply for an MOT exemption. It's assumed by the government that a vehicle over 40 years old will only see enthusiast use, and will likely be a cherished car, and so will see regular inspections by its keeper and irregular use. This does open an argument against people who don't look after their cars, but being honest, it is seldom the case. And maybe it's best we just leave the ropey older cars to professional idiots like me. While you would think this is a simple, oh it's 40 years old now, that's it sorted. Sadly that's not the case, because DVLA. When your car hits 40 years old, it's also exempt from vehicle tax, a monthly fine paid to criminals for the pleasure of sharing the roads that aren't fit for purpose. Wait, no, sorry, I mean a taxation based on the amount of emissions your vehicle puts out. However, the two things are not the same. We'll start by talking about applying for MOT exemption, as that can actually come first. MOT exemptions in the UK work from the date that your car was built, rather than when it was first registered. However, the information isn't always accessible about when it was first built, so usually people go off the date of first registration. This information can be found on your V5C, also known as a tax book. Build date is always earlier than first registration, as naturally they had to build the damn car first. So if you can find this information, you can apply for your MOT exemption a bit sooner. For those of us with Volkswagens, for example, you can apply to get your car's birth certificate, which will have the build date on it. Case in point, my maroon Mark II Golf was first registered in August of 1984. However, I had proof that the build day was in July of 1984, so I was able to make my car MOT exempt a month earlier than first registration. So to sum up, the day your car turns 40, it is MOT exempt. But it is not an automatic process. You have to tell the DVLA that it is now exempt, and to do this you need to use form V112. I'll include a link to this in the description so you can download and print it yourself. V112, or Declaration of Exemption from MOT, is a 2-page form. On the first page you need to put your car's number plate, your full name, or just whatever's on your tax book, what category signifies why, I'll get to that, and then your signature. This is the page that matters, however it is advised to print both pages. On the second page it lists all of the reasons a vehicle can be exempt. There's a lot of text here, so to narrow it down nicely for you, all you're looking at here is category R. A vehicle other than a public service vehicle registered or manufactured 40 years ago and which has not been substantially changed in the last 30 years. Now I know you're wondering what substantially changed means. Look, as long as you aren't registering a space frame kit car or your Mark II Golf suddenly has a V8 and is rear wheel drive, you'll probably be fine. Also, if you're fit to substantially change your car, you should probably know what substantially changed means. But, you know, you can do more research on this yourself if you need to. So on that first page again, write R in the category section, and you're good to go. Except you're not, because DVLA. To declare a vehicle as MOT exempt, you have to go to the post office with your tax book and tax the car as normal. Your car does not need to be currently MOT'd to become MOT exempt. However, you will need to tax it. This could be monthly, a year, whatever you like, and you can cancel it straight after if you so wish. However, once it's declared exempt, it's this way for good. You don't need to keep redoing it on the same day every year. Just bring this form with you every time you tax it and you're good to go. Note that if you're like me and live in Northern Ireland, you'll need to have it insured as well, as it needs to be insured to tax it. So, to sum up, from the very day your car turns 40 years old, you no longer need an MOT. This goes from build date, not first registration. You can have your own debate about whether you think this is a good idea or not, I don't care. If you ask me, if you aren't sensible and mechanically minded enough to look after a 40-year-old car yourself, or at least want to, then you probably shouldn't be keeping a 40-year-old car. And if you aren't, you'd be taking it to a garage, in which case it's not really your problem anyway. Something that confuses a lot of people is that yes, your car can be MOT exempt and not tax exempt. To explain, we'll now talk about applying for tax exemption. Applying for tax exemption causes the most confusion among people, and to be honest, it's a stupid system, so I can see why. Again, DVLA. The misconception is that when your car turns 40 years old, it's tax exempt, but that's not the case. It actually depends on when in the year your car is registered. If your car was registered after the 7th of January, there's a little bit of a grace period. You have to wait until the following year for it to be exempt. Why? God knows why. It's bloody dumb. DVLA. Take my Golf for example. It was first registered in August of 1984. You would think that this means it should be exempt at the start of 2024, or at the least from August of 2024. But due to this January rule, you can't declare it as MOT exempt until the 1st of April 2025, when the car will really be closer to 41. If it was built in early January of 1984, I could have registered it on the 1st of April 2024. So, as a rule of thumb, if your car has just turned 40, you have to wait until the following year to declare it as tax exempt for most cases. So realistically, unless you're lucky, it's pretty much 40 years for MOT and 41 for tax. I think the fact that MOT is 40 and most people would declare both exempt at the same time, people assume that the tax is 40 as well. It is, but it isn't. A reminder as well, this ain't a one and done pump and dump. You still have to go back every year and tax your car for £0. It's something to do with keeping records up to date, apparently. So, how do you apply? Well, you have to go into the post office as if you're taxing your vehicle as usual. Tax book, MOT exemption or certificate if you're here, insurance, and ask the attendant that you want to change your taxation class to historic. They will take the tax book off of you, make the change on their system, and you're good to go. And each year you will return and tax it, inverted commas, for £0. So, I hope this has cleared up some confusion, and if you have any more questions, please feel free to put them in the comments, though I can't explain why the DVLA are so useless. I've been Damo, this is 427 Motorsports, thank you so much for watching. If you'd like more short videos like this, if you'd like to learn about Subarus, Mercedes, Volkswagens and God knows what else, subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much, and good luck.